Hello and welcome to the podcast from Stress to Success Blueprint. I'm your host, Lolita Gorin, and today I have a goddess that's joining me today. And if you're wondering, what? Who? Well, it's Anna Pereira, and she is a CEO of the Wellness Universe, who champions global well being by empowering individuals and organizations to thrive. And she's leading the Wellness Universe since, since 2014. It's the 10 years anniversary. And I think I've been a member of Wellness Universe probably 5 or 7 years now. I need to really go back and see that. And she is not only doing Wellness Universe, no, she's transformed into this platform is for offering live events, online learning, practitioner directories. Yes, you can find me actually. You can go on wellnessuniverse.com and you can find me there. And she is also a founder of Wellness Universe Corporate. And Anna provides solutions to enhance productivity, profitability, and employee wellness. Because as you know, everything rolls as depending on happy employees, and we are always working with other people, and we kind of become employees of somebody else, even though if you are running your own business. And she's of course number one best-selling author multiple times and a mentor, and she inspires holistic growth through transformative events, books, and I will ask her about amazing event that's coming up, like in 2 days, that you definitely need to sign up right now. And I also want to say that I am so super happy, and I'm gonna brag a little bit. I was also author on her amazing book that is 25 Tools for Goddesses. That's why I said I want to introduce you to a goddess, because little secret between us two girls here, we always refer to each other like goddess, and I just love it so much because it just makes me feel so special. So thank you. And there's another book coming up. So, Anna, a very long introduction, but I'm just so super happy to have you here. So welcome.
Oh, Lolita, thank you so much. I love you to death. I know you mentioned you've been a member for 5 years, 7 years. We don't even know how long. But I do feel my connection with you is deep and everlasting, and you've become a very good friend of mine. So thank you, and I appreciate the time spent here with you.
So I know there's a lot of things, like now this is the New Year's resolution, since immediately we have so many events and coming that you are doing. And um I want to jump into when I said in introduction, there's some events coming, and it's very important for you to start the new year with the right set of mind, ready goals and all of this. So can you please tell me what is coming up in January?
Oh my gosh, Lolita. Well, you already know because you're part of it. So, what's really extraordinary is that we've been around for 10 years. I started the Wellness Universe. Actually, in 2013, I got the idea to create a community of people who are here to make the world a better place. And really, what I wanted to do was a few things. I wanted to create a community where we all can be peer support for each other, but we are a holistic solution to someone for their well-being, meaning that, if they have migraines, for example, they can come and they can find, a better way to handle their nutrition, so that's physical well-being, so they can reduce their headaches and their migraines. They can tap into a spiritual practice that helps you heal, and we all know spiritual practices really do help us heal. There's different mental, emotional, different ways that we can feed our bodies to be well. So, really, that's how the Wellness Universe started. And most importantly, on the back end, we all come together and we collaborate. So, we can, as a community in the Wellness Universe, bring out the best in each other and also for ourselves to serve those who are seeking more well-being, and that leads us to the types of events that we host. So, 2014 we gathered the community. 2015 we went online. Hello, we're here, folks. We're here to serve you and serve the world, make the world a better place. And so now, at this 10-year historic moment in our history, we created what's called Wellness Palooza. And it is so exciting because it honestly, there's 42 events in Wellness Palooza, 42 different sessions. There are workshops, wellness experiences, talks, fireside chats, panel talks, all revolving around different essential areas that we all need in order to live our best life. But it still only represents a smidgen of all of the amazing things that all of our people who are leading the charge in wellness and well-being, like you, Lolita, and like your wheelhouse is stress management, right? Like we have so many um different ways that you can fill your cup. And Wellness Palooza is just the tip of the iceberg, and yet it's 42 different sessions that someone can join up for, or an organization can enroll their members into for pennies. And it is really extraordinary. We're doing that January 8th through 12th, all day long, from about 9 or 10 in the morning to about 9 or 10 at night. All day long, there's events going on, and they're all being recorded, and people will have access to those for life. And it's really exciting. It's the biggest event we've ever done. So I'm all excited about it.
I congratulate you on putting it such an event, and I cannot imagine how much time and effort comes to put this. But what I also love about this event that there are some that they have 3 or 5 people or 10 participating, and someone can look at the event and they look at those classes or whatever presentations, they can say, there's nothing for me, or it's the same thing. But with Wellness Palooza, is like you said, over 40 presentations. If somebody cannot find something that they can help them, then I don't know what else is there, because there's so many of those amazing presenters and experts in their field. And it could be sometimes that, oh, they teaching the same thing, but everyone have their own different edge on that. So if somebody listens to one presentation and they did not really connect, I will definitely invite them to listen to other presentations, because they can see it maybe from different point of view, that they can help themselves more. And more than that, to tell other people participate in that, and listening and help themselves, because when we help ourselves, when we fill our own cup, then we can fill everybody else's cups.
I love that, and that's really well put. And like you said, there might be something. For example, if somebody's like looking at the whole schedule, and like just one thing has to call out to them, that one thing can change their life, can literally change their life. Just like you held up our book before, and we've done 4 of them. We're doing our 5th, and you're in our 5th one. I've heard stories that one chapter, because these books are done in chapters and stories, and each chapter holds a tool. People have walked away and have told me that their lives have literally been saved and changed just by reading one chapter and learning a new tool and giving themselves that loving space to practice something new for their well-being and their emotional, mental, physical, spiritual well-being. And this is really what Wellness Palooza is all about, because literally, I mean, it's over 40 sessions. It's 5 solid days. I will give a prize to someone if they actually get through all 42 sessions. That's a year's worth of different, interactions, engagements, and ways you can immerse yourself in self-care. But literally just attending one of these and connecting to one of our members to change your life, it's truly transformational. And like you said, all you have to do is like go to one. But then there might be something that, out of curiosity and opening your heart and opening your mind, you learn something new. You step, into a new version of yourself with each curiosity and taking one of the other sessions.
And what also I like, that all of this is recorded, like you said. So if somebody even looking through that list and they find some things, but it's other sessions not jump out because, well, they don't need, for example, a session about grief, for example. But then later on through the year, somebody, a friend or their loved one, someone loses something and they're going through grieving process, they can say, oh my gosh, you know what, I have the whole session for every existing session for Wellness Palooza, and I know there was somebody who was teaching how to overcome grief. They can support the loved one, because they have now support themselves how to, and go is that this hub is like this, the library, and it's really condensed. What I like about sessions like that, it's not like you need to read a book that takes 24 hours. Here you can have very short classes and you can get value right away with actionable steps from experts, and I love that.
Absolutely. And for example, your session that you're bringing, the calm method in order to be able to get yourself out of that stressful situation and, come back and get grounded and also prepare yourself and know that you have a tool. So, for example, for me, what I learned from you, Lolita, is not only the method in order to activate in the moment, but how much freedom do you have in your life when you know that you know something that you can activate when your buttons are pushed, when circumstances arise that you can't control, right? Knowing that you know something to help you later on, that reduces anxiety, that reduces depression, that reduces all of those bad things and those negative things that cause you to not be able to be your happiest, healthiest, most healed self. So it's not just that you learn the tool for the moment, but you're empowering yourself by getting the education of the tool, owning that tool so you can call upon it when you need it. And that to me is like the amazing value that you bring to Wellness Palooza with your session, for example.
So now somebody who's listening again, they're like, okay, okay, you already sold me on Wellness Palooza, I already listened enough, but why do I need to listen to Anna? Who is she? Tell me, how did you end up with all of this light want to shine to others?
Oh, you know, I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. Um, Growing up, believe me, I grew up in New Jersey, United States, to, immigrant parents from the Azores, Portugal. And I had a pretty privileged life. I grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in a nice part of New Jersey. I went to public school. I had friends. I was very artistic and creative, and I did well. But there was a lot of things in my life that, like you say, like little T's and big T's. There was a lot of little T's in my life. And maybe if I look back now, they could actually be considered big T's. I didn't have like the nurturing or the support emotionally from my folks that if they were raised better and they were healthier emotionally, they could have given more to me in a more constructive and positive way. But I grew up, and I also do think that I'm an emotionally sensitive person. I was very over emotional as a child. So that just caused another storm in itself, right? Because you're crying, you're always unhappy, blah, blah, blah. And then they don't know how to handle you, and they're not emotionally intelligent enough. And I love my parents. They're both deceased now, but it really set me up for either I figure it out myself and I really tune into my self awareness and I learn confidence on my own. I learn how to manage my life and my emotions on my own, or I'm going to be a victim of this all my life. And all of that I endured while I was growing up also left me open to be bullied. And then like my parents weren't there to support me because then it had to be my fault. So, that I was being bullied or something happened. So, looking back and reflecting on this as I developed through my 20s and really found myself and gained my independence and found who I was, it opened me up to really questioning, was the way I was raised healthy? Was it normal? Are there better ways? And then for the people that are feeling like I'm feeling or going through life experiencing what I'm experiencing now, what can be done, for them? Because when things can be better, and it's not like putting on rose-colored glasses, like literally life can be better. And you need to figure out how to do that for yourself because nobody's going to do it for you. And that's really what motivates me, number one. I really, again, like I said, I'm a sensitive person, and I it really puts my stomach in a knot when when I see people suffering like unnecessarily, or they're in victim mode, and it's like they're kind of snuffing out their light by doing that instead of taking their owning their power. And there's just so many amazing people in this world that can add to the collective consciousness of this earth and elevate this earth. And what we say at the Wellness Universe is happy, healthy, healed humans lead to peace globally. So really that is my guiding light. That's my North Star. And my why is because I went through all of this turmoil in growing up, and I didn't realize why I was so unhappy. It was just my life. My life was my life. I didn't realize until I realized. You know what I mean? It took self-awareness for me to realize I can change this. And I did. And I just want to give this blessing to everyone. And it's not one bullet. It's not a magic bullet. It's a lot of different things that you have to do. And and not everything is right for everyone. That's why the Wellness Universe is just such a magical place to get the healing and the resources, or even, even once you're healed, just to add on to your self growth and your self development. And really, that's why I do what I do, because the world needs us.
Thank you so much for being so vulnerable. I grew up with my dad being alcoholic, and I'm only one child, so it felt very lonely. And I remember when I realized that a lot of problems of mine came from because I grew up in that kind of environment, I felt like the life is over for me because I'm damaged. Um, but also I remember that I was ashamed of even telling anyone that I'm suffering really, because there's so much of loyalty that comes when we grow up in the dysfunctional families like that. It's like you're not supposed to air your dirty laundry, like, no, we're gonna act like everything is fine. And I'm happy that happy is the wrong word. Um, I'm happy that we have now this awakening and of understanding that abuse is not a good thing, that we need to drop the loyalty to the patterns that were not working really. And when we find the forgiveness towards our parents and environments that we grew up in, because they were doing the best they could, they grew up the same way. And I'm so happy that we have events now, and vulnerability it's a must. It's like, hey, everyone's suffering from something. And when we realize that we're not the only one and we're not alone and there's so much help, it takes understanding that we just need to have an intention, just make an intention, say, you know what, I deserve more than this and I'm going to do it. And the worst thing that can happen, I tried and nothing worked, for those who still want to feel safe in that kind of environment. So thank you so much for sharing your for that vulnerable story, because it means a lot to me knowing that I can connect to you. And I think all of that heart that I've seen that you leading the Wellness Universe and your events and anything, you just pour so much of your heart and soul into that. And I constantly see you working and traveling around and participating in the corporate events and speaking and all of this. So this podcast is about stress management. So when I'm looking at you, now tell me, Goddess, how do you manage your stress when you're being so busy?
Whoo, that's a good question, Lolita. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I do experience stress, but I'll tell you what. Um, there's many different things that I do in the moment, or the breaks, mini breaks through the day, try to take them. And that's really even hard sometimes, like trying to remind myself to take those breaks. And when I think of like people like you, and it's like even if you take a 1 minute break and breathe, a couple times. So there's the breaks. There's going out and walking in nature. That's really, really helpful. And it's not just helpful when I'm experiencing stress, but it really helps for building my resilience. So I'm calmer through situations. I love taking walks, at least 2.5 miles or more. I feel like after that 2.5 miles, I try to do like 4 or 5 when I do. right now it's cold in Jersey, so it's not I'm not very motivated to get out there. But I typically like to go when, it's spring, summer, fall, especially in the fall. And I'll tell you what else has really helped with my stress levels more than anything in recent times. Because obviously when we're agitated, we get more stressed. When we're stressed, we, start, going down that rabbit hole. And then everything just happens. And there's just so many other things like physical injury can happen when we're stressed out because we're not thinking, we might not be watching where we're walking. We can get hurt, things like that. So stress is really a bad thing. It's not just emotional, it's physical and mental. So I really, really, really try to not activate anything in me to allow stress to take over my life. One of the biggest things that I've been doing lately in the past 6 months, I've dedicated myself because I've had a spiritual practice and I practice like when I do events or involve myself in like a meditation with, our members and stuff. But that's not enough. I really started dedicating myself back in May or June to a spiritual practice in the morning. So every morning I'm doing a visualization, I'm doing an affirmative prayer, and then I go back to like my Catholic prayers and so I do like this whole thing and it takes about a half an hour. But honestly, I feel that that has helped me a lot in managing my stress because through that affirmative prayer and also doing the visualization and setting myself up for the day. One day goes to the next, goes to the next, goes to the next, and you keep telling yourself these things and you keep visualizing and empowering yourself. You're just, you have that anchor. You have that anchor that's forming inside of you. Like, I know the universe has got my back. And I can't just like say that like once and then 6 months later say it again. It doesn't work. You have to always say that to yourself. Like, the universe has got my back. Every experience is something to learn from. I want to learn from awareness and not challenges. I want to have and experience more freedom through the decisions I make. I want to have my decisions be confident and through my heart space rather than always through my head space. So all of this that I do in the morning has really helped me because it helps me to have, again, a North Star for me to look at. And I know that I've done this in the morning. So like, I know there's nothing more that I can do, right? If I've already given it up to the universe, given it up to God, given it up to all my angels, and I'm doing it for myself, like what more can I do? You know what I mean? And then of course there's the other things that we can physically do or our decision making process and the tools that we implement, but literally that's the highest form of saying, okay, so now I got this on my plate and how am I going to deal with it? So that honestly I think is the biggest game changer for me, but it takes consistency and you know and always doing it, sticking to it.
I love that you share that you have a morning practice. For me, also, I think the way we just wake up in the morning before and start thinking all kinds of thoughts and regurgitating what happened yesterday and what we need to do tomorrow and today and all that, just starting with gratitude and and that's been the biggest
Hmm.
change in my life too, when I set my mind the right way right from the beginning of a day. So I want to ask you, okay, so you set your day great, but then, as you know, things happen and then something derail us from that, positive vibe. Do you have like what they call stress management toolbox that you just pull up in a stressful situation and you apply it? Do you have one?
Well, I deal with a lot of people, right? You know this, that I deal with a lot of individuals. Everything that I do is focused on human beings and services mainly, and one of the biggest things that I pull out is compassion, being compassionate, having patience, trying to see the situation through the other person's eyes. And that's something I really had to learn. Like you, my father was an alcoholic, and I grew up with, and I resonate a lot with what you've written about in your books, what you speak about. I too, it's the same thing on my side. So I have a lot of triggers. I have a lot of things that I had to like, manage, but manage in a way that it's become natural. It's not, like you click an on off switch, like I have to do this to do that, to get this effect and result. Literally, to integrate these things into my life, it becomes the autopilot for you. And compassion, self compassion, and compassion for others has been one of my biggest tools, because not only does it help me to manage stress and allows me to diffuse the situation, but allows the relationship to not to get damaged. So that's one of my biggest tools. I think just implementing compassion in any situation.
I love what you said also that has to do with compassion with yourself, because I say we cannot bulldoze ourselves into success. And any change happens only when we appreciate ourselves and giving empathy towards ourselves, saying, I'm behaving like that because I'm behaving like that, or I'm feeling like that because I am feeling like that, and honoring your own feelings the same as honoring other people's feelings, because we cannot be healthy or happy for them. We have to honor their own choices. And now we were talking a lot about, somebody who decides themselves, like, okay, like it's very individual. But am I even making sense here? What I'm trying to say is, I know that you promoting and reaching out organizations, and I'm also, as a speaker, I reach out to employing companies, and because when we have individuals that are working for the companies, they kind of may seem like they're units. They're under one umbrella, but actually they're also individuals that have their own stories, the same traumas and everything. So what do you think can be improved, or that has to do with wellness in the overall in the workplace?
Well, there's plenty of things, and an open door policy and supporting someone where they're at to where they're at and taking them to where they want to be, and understanding a little bit more in a deeper way of what the individuals need and what they're open to and what they're, having having an emotionally intelligent leader, having, a little bit more of a compassionate leader. So the employee or team member knows that it's a safe space that they can go to. Actually, we're working with a focus group of professional women athletes. And that's one of the high stress, high demand, high achievers that you can possibly get, a professional athlete. And there's also a lot of demands on them, and also from their team, but also on themselves. And what we're finding is that they're very candid and they're very transparent of what their needs are. But what is leadership? What space is leadership allowing for them to engage in wellness and well-being resources without repercussion, without some sort of penalty on them? You know what I mean? And that's really, I think, what the challenge is in many spaces, and also the fact that they might box in what they think is needed, compared to being a little bit more open to receive different modalities and methods. And we're actually seeing a lot more of that. People that are, being a little bit more open to more of the spiritual or, more holistic practices coming in for people to get those mindfulness sessions, for people to get like sound healing, things like that. And I think that that is one of the challenges that we are breaking down the walls with, because as soon as somebody experiences something that they may seem as woo woo, they're like, oh my gosh, this is great. And we always get like amazing, great reviews, and everybody's so happy. And it's like, okay, yeah, now bring this to your people. And they're like, oh, okay, So that's the thing. I think it's just that barrier of, this is okay to bring this in, and people really do engage and they get so much out of it.
I love that. That we also in the time, I say pandemic was a bad thing, but it's a good thing, because now we realize that we're so connected and we can bring so much healing to each other through just online classes, on online events, and but also really pointed out that we do need to take care of our mental health,
Hmm.
and we cannot separate this from our lives, because it looks like workplace becomes this, oh, you're just putting your time and energy, but really you're putting your mental state in there. And so there is I want to ask you, you as a leader yourself, what do you think now? Somebody's listening to this interview and they say, okay, well, I'm a leader in my group. I'm the leader of my business. Whatever leader of a corporation, something. I am stressed out myself. What do you think? I'm going to take care of everybody else, but I also have my own stresses. What can you say to the leader who needs to manage their own stress from your experience?
Yeah, helping a leader is obviously different than helping, the masses. There's many more demands put on leadership, and it takes a different type of support for leaders to be able to be helped. I mean, leaders are obviously the most susceptible to burnout, and that's not good, right? So there are different methods, modalities, there are different ways to help them incorporate, because it depends, again, like you said, everyone's an individual and each leader is an individual. They need to be supported by their organization for their well-being so they don't wind up in burnout. That's number one. So they need to feel safe. They need to feel supported by their organization. So that's number one. And then number two, there are different levels of how coaches engage with leaders. So they have the tools from a leadership's perspective of how they need to be helped and served. Just like, for example, a mom. A mom needs different tools because of her circumstances for her to incorporate wellness into her life. And that's what's really great about the wellness universe and the depth and the breadth of folks and different tools and opportunities that we have to engage with these things, because they are so specialized. You can find exactly what you need, and that's the thing. You need to find what you need for you, and whether it's a leader or whether it's somebody else who's not a leader, that just, let's say somebody is a regular worker but they go home and they're a caretaker, so they don't stop working. They work at their job and then they go home and they're working, and their life is all about other people all the time. So they need a special set of tools. They need a special set of support. So to answer your question just about leaders, it's specialized, obviously, and they need the support from those people above them, and also the specialized support that they will adopt and understand and incorporate into their lives. And they need to give themselves the okay to say, yes, I need this and it's important for me.
And those who listening in, that they say, well, I don't have a boss above me. That's great. If you're the business owner, that means it's in your hands. So you make a decision, an intention to take care of yourself, fill your own cup, and then fill your employees' cups as well, and your friends. And we need to start thinking about that. We are here not to serve others through being depleted. The only one way how we can serve others and help them is through being in a strong place ourselves. And especially that has to do with children. They learn from us. So when we take care of ourselves, we teach them how they can take care of themselves as well. So we can talk about all of this forever, but I want to now say, so those who are listening in now and they say yes, okay, and the leaders and or the employees or they just individuals, and they want to book you as a speaker to the events. After they can book me too, I can do a lot of spouse stress management as well. But also, who wants to come and find you for your special events, find your amazing community, where they can find you? Of course, all of this is going to be in the description below, but I also would like you that you will point that out as well.
Well, like you mentioned about Wellness Palooza, I would love for people to come to Wellness Palooza. And also, I know, Lolita, you have a special 15% off additional on the bundle. The bundle for Wellness Palooza is a great place to start. And that right now is 90% off the bundle. So all of the sessions individually are $33, which is still a ridiculous, cheap, inexpensive way to say, yeah, I think I can afford $33 for my self-care that I'll have access to forever. But every single one of the sessions that's at $33 is bundled together. and it's over $1,400 worth of sessions because there's also free gifts from all of us, in Wellness Palooza. And then if you use your code Lolita, you get an additional 15% off. Now, leaders or business owners can take advantage of this and offer it to their employees in their groups for less than $1 a session. But they'll have to reach out to me for that. And my email is Anna, ANNA, at thewellnessuniverse.com. And anything from 10 employees or 10 people in a group on up, we can set you up so you can get everyone enrolled for less than $1 a session. It's really like we have done the best that, to offer such great resources to the world and to individuals and to organizations through Wellness Palooza. So that I would say go to Wellness Palooza, number one. And then number two is once you're in Wellness Palooza, you'll be in our learning platform. There's tons of classes. So many of them are for free. Wellness for All, which you also lead, Life Without Limits. That's one of them. There's the wellnessuniverse.com where you can connect with people who can help you with your specific needs.
And for those who want to directly connect with Anna on LinkedIn, yeah, she's there and puts a lot of great advice and a great following for leaders that they can ask for help of her and all of amazing team that she has. So thank you so much, Anna, for being here today. I am just so grateful that you found time for when you are so busy. And I know the Wellness Palooza is going to be amazing and just starting just in a few days. And definitely all of that information that we just said is going to be in the description below. Um, and I cannot wait also for the book come out as well. So you will be seeing a lot of me and Anna on my post, that's for sure. So thank you, Anna.
Lolita, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure and a treat. I love you so much. Thank you.